From the capital city of Charleston, West Virginia, this is Inside West Virginia Politics with Rick Johnson. Inside West Virginia Politics is brought to you by AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Now, Inside West Virginia Politics.
Hello, and welcome to Inside West Virginia Politics. I'm Rick Johnson. Let's start with Public Employees Insurance Agency, or as we call it, PEIA. Hundreds of thousands of state employees have their health coverage through PEIA. How to fund it? That seems to be a problem. To help us understand that and more about all of this is Jessica Dobrinsky of the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy. Welcome to Inside West Virginia Politics.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. Let's start just a little bit with what is the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy?
Yeah, so the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy is a nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank, and we focus on free market policy.
Really? Okay. So, boy, you've got a good one now with PEIA.
Yeah, certainly.
And I know that your organization has talked about various remedies, if you will, possibilities for PEIA. What is it about PEIA that always seems to have it in a precarious financial situation?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because really the funding of PEIA is concerning to me, and really the structural foundation is where we see a lot of flaws right now.
Okay, so let's start with some of the things that you feel could be done to help PEIA become more financially stable and consistent.
Yeah, so there's a couple options. One of them would be including more HSA options for PEIA members. Right now they're on Plan C, but not many people use them, and it's a super flexible option. But my favorite is reference-based pricing.
And how does that work?
And so reference-based pricing allows the state, as operating almost as an insurance provider, to negotiate with the existing healthcare systems to determine what is the average rate for something. So if an MRI for, say, is $1,500, it would give the beneficiaries kind of an idea of what they're allowed to spend on something, and forces them to shop around a little bit, injecting these free market principles.
So does this sort of remove the legislative part of this equation? You have people who are on PEIA who are paying premiums and all of that, but you also have the legislature with appropriations to the fund. Would what you're talking about sort of pull that back, the legislative part of it?
Yeah, I think the unfortunate part about PEIA is that it's often been kind of wrapped up in political pressure. And so this would allow the state to kind of flex its power a little bit more as one of the largest providers of health insurance in the state, and really work with our existing providers to get rates down for those who need medical care.
So this is sort of a free market solution.
Absolutely.
And how do you get people to buy into that?
Yeah, I think the difficult thing is that clearly West Virginia's healthcare system is not a free market. And so in order to make sure that we're getting it to that place, we have to inject these principles. And reference-based pricing is allowing patients to shop around, which is, of course, the basis of the free market.
I didn't really understand how many people are in PEIA, how many state employees and I guess their family members, retirees and others. There's like 200,000?
Yes, that's correct.
That is a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge population.
And I know that they've had some interim meetings at the Capitol here just recently, and that was one of the discussions. And you've had someone say, you know, I'm in my 70s and I'm still having to work because PEIA is not helping me as much as I was hoping that it would be at this stage of my life. You probably hear more of those stories.
Yeah, I hear a lot of stories about people having trouble accessing health care. Of course, certificate of need is a huge role in this as well. And so allowing whatever we can do to empower patients far more is the correct solution.
And retirees, those are the ones I kind of have a feeling for. You know, they worked their entire lives, many of them, for West Virginia state government, and thought all this was going to be taken care of. And now, as they get to those years, they probably are uncertain about the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's why, you know, structural solutions are super prevalent right now and it should be top of mind. Backfilling with different budgetary gaps or whatnot are not really, you know, sustainable solutions.
And so we've got the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy is here on the ground, actually headquartered in Charleston.
Yeah, that's correct.
Where are you located?
Yeah, we're just right behind Charleston Catholic, actually.
Okay, so in downtown Charleston,
Yeah.
and we've given viewers just enough to maybe get them, wanting to find out more. Give us a website where they could get more information on
Yeah, they can find us at cardinalinstitute.com, and we source all of our research there, including our PEIA brief that just came out.
All right, very good. Jessica, thank you for being here
Yeah,
today.
of course. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's Jessica Dobrensky. She is the Chief of Staff with the Cardinal Institute for West Virginia Policy. We'll take a break and be right back with more of Inside West Virginia Politics. Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. Our next guest is Hollis Lewis. He's a Democrat delegate in the West Virginia House of Delegates from the 57th District in Kanawha County, where he's been since about 2023. Yeah. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me on.
It's nice to have you, Delegate.
Yes,
I know that this past week there were some interims at the Capitol, legislative interims, and you were there as a participant on a committee and also as sort of a spectator. You were out in the audience. Let's talk first about the Corrections and Public Safety Interim Committee. Is that yours?
Yeah, that's the committee that I serve on as far as on the interim schedule. The new commissioner is Dave Kelly. He's a former delegate. I had the pleasure of serving with him for 2 years. So a lot of the issues that we talked about, as far as in the jails in West Virginia, we've seen a lot of stuff happening as far as, violence. And then most recently we had a little bit of a weekend scandal as far as the food and how they were going to serve it. Those issues were addressed. And I think, moving forward, what Commissioner Kelly emphasizes is that he wants to really, get staff trained and have them, to the best of their ability as far as pay and different things of that nature to make sure our facilities are running to the best they can.
Yeah, and also, I know that families of those who are of the inmates, it's family. I mean, they're family on the outside who we get calls from on occasion, like, do you know what's going on over at whatever facility? And things happen, and it sounds like the one over a weekend ago or so has been addressed. Yeah,
they call it an experiment, and again, for them, how Commissioner Kelly explained it, they wanted to explore cost-saving measures. And I think what we have to realize is that, again, those individuals who are incarcerated, most of all of them, they did some sort of crime, whether violent or white collar, what have you, and they are serving their time, and they, we want to make sure that they are punished to the capacity in which the crimes they committed, but at the same time, we have to have a level of humanity when serving our imprisoned population. And we want to make sure that we have programs, which Commissioner Kelly talked about, that are going to serve them, because around 95% of those individuals will be released back to society.
Correct. Also, the PEIA issue, there was an interim committee meeting on that. That's where you were not on the committee.
Yeah.
But what was your takeaway from what you heard there?
Well, again, it was a sort of a proposal. We had an outside agency come in and do an analysis, some exploratory measures that would, provide some cost savings to PEIA. As you know, not only are we just experiencing, premium increases, but one of the things that was emphasized within the presentation is that a lot of the drugs, experimental, the Ozempic type of drugs are driving those costs up. So I think he presented, sort of a 9-point plan alternative that could possibly save the state money.
I know that there's been talk of maybe privatizing PEIA. Yeah. Do you see that as an option?
Well, again, if we privatize, from our analysis here on the Democratic side, there's going to be increases even if you privatize it. I think what we're exploring is different ways to fund PEIA. We don't want to necessarily kick people off as family members of those individuals who work for the state. So we want to explore ways in which we could fund PEIA. As you know, here recently in the news, we talked about, Treasurer Pack talked about a $70 million decrease in Hope Scholarship. However, Hope Scholarship is still funded at a $200 million plus clip. So we want to figure out ways to fund PEIA and not, and still serve the population.
Also, I know that coming up, actually starting this past week, was the kitchen table listening tour with West Virginia House of Delegate Democrats, and started in Huntington, and it's going to be rolling along over the next several weeks, making stops along the way, covering the state of West Virginia. What do you hope to walk away with from that experience, and what do you want others who come out for the tabletop tour or kitchen table tour? What do you want them to have? What do you want them to have?
Yeah, it's going to be West Virginia House Democrats plus our Senator Joy Garcia. On the Senate side, basically we want to go out, and these are just town halls. So we want to tour the state of West Virginia, come to a community near you, and we just want to hear you. We want to hear what are your problems, what are your issues that you're experiencing, and we want to, not only listen, try to present solutions, and really build a pathway to work together. Because again, all communities are being affected by policies that are not only coming from the state, but policies that are coming from the federal government. We just talked about, the federal broadband grant that we were supposed to get at a tune of $106 million. That's sort of in limbo now. And these are measures that are going to help everyday West Virginians. And when we talk about kitchen table tours, what we mean by that, we're not trying to talk about salacious issues. These are issues that are going to affect your utility bills. Can you go to college? Can you afford rent? Can you buy a house? Do you have a good job? These are the issues that we're focused on.
We're out of time. We thank you so much for being here. Delegate Hollis Lewis from Kanawha County, District 57,
Yes,
running for the job here?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. That's Hollis Lewis, and I'm Rick Johnson. We'll take a break and be right back with more of Inside West Virginia Politics. Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. I'm Rick Johnson. J.B. Akers, Republican delegate from Kanawha County, is with me now. He was appointed to fill a vacancy in the House of Delegates and has filed to run for that seat in 2026. Delegate Akers, Kanawha County, welcome to Inside West Virginia Politics.
It's great to see you, Rick.
It's good to have you here today and to be a part of our program. We'll get into some things here about what you're going to be doing down the road. I thought I'd give you an opportunity as we start this this segment to talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination in Utah.
Yeah, so for folks who are watching this, I guess it'll be the weekend when this comes out, so there will be several days in between when we record this and when you may see this, so a lot could change by then. And you and I had a discussion before. I'm not someone who talks about national issues that often. I stick to local issues. I'm a local House of Delegates member. I talk about road, schools, jobs. I'm mainly focused on jobs and economic issues. Gave a radio interview yesterday in a station here locally, and that's all I talked about really was economic issues. And that's what I try to stick to. That was a couple hours before Charlie Kirk was killed. But I think that's obviously a very serious matter. This is a political show. We don't know yet why he was killed. I think it's safe to assume it was politically motivated at this point until we find out more. But I think it touches upon broader issues that deal with politics at all levels, national down to local races as well. So the thing I want to say about that is, and yesterday I posted about it on my social media. Not that my opinion is that important on the issue, but I feel like it was something important just to say, obviously praying for his family and praying for our country. And I know some people say thoughts and prayers, big deal, but I believe in that. There's not much more I can do for someone's family in that situation. So I'm genuinely prayerful for him and prayerful for our country. That was horrific. If you haven't seen the video of what happened to him, I watched it once and I'll never watch it again. It was, no matter what you think about him, he's a human being, and if you saw him get shot, it is genuinely sickening to see it. Should not happen to anyone regardless of their views and beliefs. And so yesterday I put out a prayer for our country, for him as well, but hopeful that things do not get worse. I'm not naive enough to think that nothing bad will ever happen again, Rick, but I just hope this doesn't escalate and that somehow this brings people closer together. I've been somewhat unsettled by some of the social media I've seen since he was killed.
Such as?
Some people frankly celebrating his death. And if you don't know who Charlie Kirk was, he was a political commentator. And I didn't subscribe to his channel. I didn't go to his events. I did watch a lot of his content. And he said a lot of things I agreed with. He said some things I disagreed with. If you and I talked long enough today, we'd probably have some of those moments. But he was someone who was always respectful in debate. He was willing to talk to anybody, which is extremely important in this day and age. And he would go to college campuses primarily, which is how he got to be so well known. He was a young guy, just 31 when he was killed, a wife and 2 small children. And but he primarily got started on college campuses debating people who largely disagreed with him. and he would hear their view and he would offer a counter argument, which we all should be willing to do that without any threat of violence against anyone, left or right, middle, whatever you may be. And I always respected that. And when you watched him talk, he didn't interrupt people, he didn't yell at them, he didn't say inflammatory things as far as I was concerned. You may not have liked what he always said, but he was respectful in debate, and we need more of that. And his killing, I think, makes things worse. And I will say this, both sides can be guilty of bad rhetoric, okay? And if you ever look at my social media, I'm not someone who blames one side for issues. I've got plenty of people who are across the political spectrum in my district, and I try to get along and work with everybody. But there is an awful lot of, again, rhetoric, I will say. It seems like it does come more from the left on this kind of language about calling everyone who disagrees with you a Nazi or a fascist, just over-the-top comments like that. And that's not what most people are. I mean, you've got fringe groups, obviously, but most of us tend to migrate more towards the middle, Rick, and most of us have families. We care about our country, and we want to see things get better for everyone. And what happened yesterday was just awful. And again, I'm not going to say that we be naive and say we all just have to come together. I would like to see that happen. But I certainly think that the rhetoric, especially in social media, we've got to be more mindful of the things we say about one another.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to keep you for another segment. Can you stay?
I'll stay as long as you want me to.
All right. We're going to take that break right now. J.B. Akers is with us. He is a delegate from Kanawha County, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. I'm Rick Johnson, and with us is Delegate J.B. Akers, who serves in the House of Delegates here, of course, in the state of West Virginia. What's the district that you are with? What's the number? What is it?
Well, so I'm 55, and my district geographically is hard to explain because it's shaped pretty strangely, but about half my district includes parts of the city of Charleston, and then the other half is, I represent really all of southern Kanawha County, and then I go over to Tornado in the western part of the county, and also the eastern part. So it's geographically, it's a large district, and it's very diverse demographically and economically. I mean, I've got an urban area, I've got suburban areas, and I've got rural areas as well, which I actually like. I've lived in all those different places myself.
You grew up in Kanawha County, did you not?
Well, actually, I was born initially. My family lived in Fayetteville, in a very rural part of Fayetteville. I went to high school at Milton, which would now be Cabell Midland High School. But then I've been in Charleston since 1999. And my wife is Mary Claire Akers. She's a circuit judge here in Kanawha County. You know her, I believe.
Yes.
And she actually just finished a murder trial this week. We talked about the awful thing with Charlie Kirk. My wife just finished a murder trial earlier this week. And then today, this is being taped on 9/11, so kind of a heavy week so far. And again, anyway, so today being 9/11, we probably should just quickly remember those folks.
Absolutely.
My wife and I have taken our kids to both Shanksville in Pennsylvania, actually the 20th anniversary that day, which was amazing, very sad but amazing. And then also we've been to the 9/11 Memorial in New York City. I haven't been to the one at the Pentagon, but if you have not been to those places, absolutely please visit them. Yeah, they are, it's heartbreaking, but also very inspirational.
In the time that we have remaining, I thought I'd give you an opportunity to talk just a little bit about what you see as the issues, the problems that the state of West Virginia really needs to go after, and that being the legislature. Yeah,
well, I call them challenges and opportunities. And to me, the thing I focus on, I said this earlier before we got into the horrific Charlie Kirk incident, but I focus as much attention as I can on economic issues and job issues. To me, the way you improve the life of the average West Virginian the most impactfully is to make sure they have good economic opportunities, which will also hopefully draw our kids and grandkids back here if they've had to move, or draw new people to the state.
Yeah.
So I spend the majority of my time when I'm not actually in session in the legislature talking to companies, job creators, trying to get them back here. I got an award earlier this week, which I'm not patting myself on the back, but it's recognition from the Manufacturers Association, for example, that I got one of their legislative awards. And what that tells me is I've got my eye on the ball, at least with economic issues, and I'm trying to make West Virginians' lives better economically. And when you look at what voters tell us, Rick, they tell you their number one priority is jobs in the economy. So, I always tell people, I say, look, when you vote for us, sometimes you'll tell us if we go to Washington, D.C. or Charleston that we forget where we came from or who put us there. And when my voters tell me that they want me to focus on the economy, that's what I do.
Well, let us in. We're running out of time here. I want to make sure that we give out a website or social platform. You are big in social media. I've read your posts over the years. Where can one get in touch with you that way and find out a little bit more about JB Acres?
Yeah, so well, my main website is jbacres.com, so easy to remember that one. I've got a Facebook page. I'm not very active on Twitter. Sometimes I'll get some crossover there, or X, whatever you call it these days. But on Facebook, I do maintain a presence there. You can find JB Acres for West Virginia is my political Facebook page. I'm always available to talk. Please reach out to me.
Here we go.
It's great seeing you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
That's Delegate JB Acres, and that'll do it for this edition of Inside West Virginia Politics. Have a great week. We'll see you here next weekend.